A very good morning. It's just past 8 and we're back again with another edition of Breakfast News this Friday morning. We are 20 days away from getting into the new year, but 20 days of hope and belief that things are going to be right, especially when it comes to vaccine and news related to that. Lots to look forward to in the next 60 minutes. We cut all that's fiction and get you facts as it happens on ground zero. All that matters to people in India and rest of the world in the next 60 minutes. And let's begin. I am Anil Thomas. With me this morning, my co-anchor, Nancy Kohli. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning, Anil. How are you doing this morning?
Doing okie dokie.
Okay. All right. With that, let's begin. The breakfast news will get you all the news from across the nation, sports, business, and the global updates as well. But first, a check on the headlines.
Prime Minister Modi to hold summit-level dialogue with Uzbekistan President Shavkat Mirziyoyev. It will be the first bilateral virtual summit with any Central Asian leader. Several MOUs and agreements expected to be signed.
Home Ministry seeks report from the governor as well as West Bengal government over the attack on the convoy of the BJP President JP Nadda in West Bengal. The detailed report also sought from the state government.
Agriculture Minister Narendra Tomar says government is ready to hold discussion with farmers again on new farm laws to find a solution. Assures farmers that government is not doing away with MSP under new laws.
Prime Minister Modi to address the International Bharati Festival this evening. The festival to see the participation of several national and international poets and artists through a virtual mode.
India's fight against COVID-19 continues. Less than 40,000 daily cases for the 11th consecutive day. New record set in COVID testing with 1 crore tests in 10 days. Health Minister says 8 vaccine candidates, including 3 indigenous ones, will be manufactured in India.
In global news, the United States FDA advisors overwhelmingly backed the authorizing Pfizer vaccine for emergency use amidst worsening COVID situation in the US. The COVID-19 deaths matches daily record in the US, spurring pleas to trim back the Christmas celebrations.
WHO applauds India for its fitness ka dose aadha ghanta rose campaign. The movement urges Indians to follow the mantra of 30 minutes of fitness every day. Well, those are the headlines at the top of the hour. Now for the stories in detail, starting first up, what's the top story there?
Well, in fact, we are focusing on the virtual summit that will take place between Prime Minister Modi and of course, the first bilateral virtual summit with any Central Asian leader. Prime Minister Modi will hold the summit-level dialogue with the President of Uzbekistan today. The leaders will discuss the entire spectrum of the bilateral relationship, including strengthening of India-Uzbekistan cooperation in the post-COVID world. Now, several MOUs and agreements in the field of development partnership, renewable energy, capacity building are expected to be signed during the summit. While India considers Central Asia as its extended neighborhood, which makes the outreach to Uzbekistan an important aspect of its Central Asian diplomacy. On the bilateral front, there has been a significant intensification in the ties with Uzbekistan in recent years due to the high-level visits from both the sides. Bilateral relations now encompass a wider canvas including political and strategic issues, defense and security, trade and investment, energy, agriculture, science and technology, education, and people-to-people ties. And let's now go across to our correspondent Amritpal Singh, who is joining us over the phone line as far as the bilateral summit is concerned. Amrit, good morning. This is really going to be an opportunity for both the sides to enhance their strategic partnership, and of course, the main core issue is also going to be how to tackle really with the post-COVID world, and several agreements and MOUs also expected to be inked. Amrit.
That's right, Nancy. We could expect several agreements, especially, as you said, development partnership, trade, our trade presently is a modest to $47 million, which is well below the potential. The two sides have set up a target of about achieving a trade of about $1 billion, especially trade in the pharmaceutical sectors, cooperation in the civil nuclear energy sector is expected to boost that. So the two sides could look at signing various MOUs that would facilitate and provide an enabling environment for that. So I think when the two leaders today meet, their focus would be how to take these ties to the next level, especially focusing on trade and development partnership.
Okay, now Amrit, considering the fact this is the first bilateral summit that India has with any Central Asian country, and having said that, the Prime Minister has been holding virtual summits with many world leaders, the significance of this, especially in this COVID times, considering that a trade with Uzbekistan is not that big or huge.
As I said, trade, you rightly said that trade, the potential of the present trade between the two countries is well below the potential. There's a huge potential, especially in, fields of pharmaceuticals has a great potential. In fact, there is a bilateral investment treaty and the preferential trade agreements that is at advanced stages of negotiations between the two countries. Okay. And both sides look at investments positively, but they have to be taken to the next level. Now, in times where, you're talking about productions of vaccines, there remains a huge scope. India has a huge capability of its pharmaceutical sector. So tomorrow when the vaccine hits the market and the world looks towards India for because of its production capabilities. So I think that is one sector which could boost possible trade between the two countries. So I think the two leaders today, when they meet virtually, this would be a major focus of discussion, and we could see some enabling framework MOUs to emerge from this meeting.
Okay, we'll leave it there. You've got a busy day ahead. We'll come back to you for more updates on that story as it unfolds, as that virtual summit takes place later this morning. Well, shifting focus to now the BJP president's Bengal visit. BJP President JP Nadda has slammed Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee for poor administration in the state. He added that the people of West Bengal are aware of Mamata's action and results of which will be answered in elections. Nadda said the attack symbolizes tyranny, anarchy and darkness under Mamata government rule.
ममता जी हमेशा सच्चाई को छुपाने का प्रयास करती है। यहाँ बंगाल में अराजकता प्रकाष्ठा पर है, लॉलेसनेस, स्टेट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन क्रम्बल डाउन कर रही है और ये ममता जी के आशीर्वाद से संभव है। यही हमको देखने को मिला है। लेकिन बंगाल की जनता जागृत जनता है, वो चुनाव में जवाब देना जानती है और उन्होंने तय कर लिया है ममता जी की जमीन खिसक चुकी है, इस कारण से उनको बौखलाहट है। आगे हमारी लड़ाई प्रजातांत्रिक तरीके से होगी और प्रजातंत्र में विश्वास रखते हुए जनता के बीच में हम जाएंगे।
Meanwhile, the centre has sought a report from the West Bengal governor as well as the state government on the law and order situation in the state following an attack on the BJP President JP Nadda's convoy. The centre sought the report from the state government after the BJP State Unit Chief Dilip Ghosh wrote to Union Home Minister Amit Shah alleging serious security lapses during the BJP President's visit. The development came after stones were hurled at BJP President's convoy en route Diamond Harbour in West Bengal.
The audacious attack on BJP's cavalcade on Thursday jolted everyone and brought the inherent use of violence in West Bengal once again into limelight. Not only BJP President JP Nadda's convoy was attacked, several BJP leaders including BJP National General Secretary Kailash Vijayvargiya and West Bengal BJP Chief Dilip Ghosh were also targeted when protesters pelted stones at their vehicles at West Bengal's Diamond Harbour. Nadda's car was hit with a brick. He lashed out at the state government for security lapses during his visit.
आज जो घटना घटी है वह ममता जी के फ्रस्ट्रेशन की, बौखलाहट की कहानी है। उनको दिख गया है कि जमीन खिसक चुकी है और जिस शब्दों का वो प्रयोग कर रही है जिस शब्दावली का प्रयोग कर रही है, मुझे वो शब्द रिपीट करने में भी शर्म आती है। एक बंगाल के चीफ मिनिस्टर, उनको शायद मालूम नहीं है कि इस पद की गरिमा क्या होती है।
The BJP leaders were travelling to Diamond Harbour in South 24 Parganas near Kolkata when the attack took place. BJP has questioned the law and order in the state and said that Nadda was safe only because he was travelling in a bulletproof car. The viral video clearly shows the true picture.
यह घटना लगातार बढ़ रही है और यहाँ तक बढ़ गई है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष, जिनको सुरक्षा भी है और उनके काफिले पर भी पथराव हो और उस पर अनदेखी सरकार की ओर से रहे, यह घोर निंदनीय है।
ऐसा लग रहा था मन में कि अपन अपने देश में है कि किसी दूसरे देश में, ऐसी परिस्थिति लग रही थी वहाँ पर। राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष की गाड़ी आगे उनके ऊपर पथराव हुआ, वो तो बुलेट प्रूफ गाड़ी थी, हमारी गाड़ी पूरी तोड़ दी उन्होंने, हमारे ड्राइवर को भी चोट आई।
Dilip Ghosh also wrote a letter to Union Home Minister Amit Shah. BJP's Bengal chief alleged that a mob armed with sticks had gathered to attack Nadda's convoy. In a letter, he wrote, "At her party office at Hastings, Kolkata, there was a mob of 200 plus with sticks, bamboos, etc., demonstrating, raising black flags. Some of them climbed on the cars parked outside the office and raised slogans. Police did not intervene to stop them and casually allowed them to come with a close perimeter of Nadda ji's vehicle."
यहाँ माननीय नड्डा जी का जो कार्यक्रम था शहर में, वहाँ वेस्ट बंगाल पुलिस का कहीं उपस्थिति नहीं थी। सुरक्षा में बहुत बड़ी चूक हुई है, इसलिए मैंने देश के गृह मंत्री जी को चिट्ठी लिखा है, यहाँ के प्रशासन को चिट्ठी लिखा है।
BJP President has Z category security. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has taken cognizance of the concerns raised about the safety of JP Nadda in West Bengal. According to sources, the Union Home Ministry will seek a report from the Chief Secretary and DGP of West Bengal. Condemning the attack, the Home Minister said that there will be serious repercussions of the attack on the BJP chief. He said in a tweet, "Today's attack on National President of BJP, Shri JP Nadda, is condemnable. The central government is taking this attack very seriously. The Bengal government will have to answer to the peace-loving people of the state for this sponsored violence." He further wrote, "Bengal has descended into an era of tyranny, anarchy and darkness under the Trinamool rule. The manner in which political violence has been institutionalized and brought to the extreme in West Bengal under TMC rule is sad and worrying for all those people who believe in democratic values." Defence Minister Rajnath Singh condemned the attack and tweeted, "In a democracy, it is very worrying to target political leaders. In view of the seriousness of the attack on the convoy of the BJP national president, it should be thoroughly investigated and the responsibility of this incident should be fixed." JP Nadda was on a 2-day visit to Kolkata as the BJP preps its campaign for the Bengal election due in 6 months. Addressing the party workers, he said West Bengal has become a state of lawlessness and intolerance. But the anarchy is not going to last long because a lotus is about to bloom in Bengal.
अराजकतावाद ये ज्यादा दिन नहीं चलने वाला है। ममता जी आपकी सरकार जाने वाली है और कमल खिलने वाला है।
Lately, there have been many incidents of political violence in West Bengal, due to which the law and order of the state and Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee have been questioned. With inputs from Kolkata Bureau and Sudhakar Das from Delhi, DD India.
Well, shifting to the farmers' protest, Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar reiterated the key points of the government's proposal to the farmers. He said despite the unrelenting protests, government has tried to go deeper into the concerns of the farmers from MSP to APMC and tried to address them. He said small and marginal farmers stand to particularly benefit from the new farm laws. Meanwhile, farmers have refused to budge from their position. They want the new laws taken back. Here's more.
Centre has appealed to protesting farmers to end the stir and find amicable solution through talks. In a press conference, Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar said that the government is open to discussing all aspects of the proposal on new farm reforms with farmers. He said the proposal addresses the key concerns of farmers in a point-by-point manner. But farmers' groups are adamant on continuing the protest and have not reverted with any workable suggestions.
सरकार का पक्ष है कि कानून के वे प्रावधान जिन पर किसान को आपत्ति है, उन प्रावधान पर सरकार खुले मन से विचार करने को तैयार है। सरकार का कोई ईगो नहीं है और सरकार को कोई उन पर विचार करने में दिक्कत नहीं है और हम यूनियन के साथ बैठकर उसको समाधान कर सकते हैं।
Tomar said farmers have been concerned over the APMC Act that new farm laws will lead to end of MSP arrangement. However, he added that these doubts have no basis and reiterated that APMC and MSP will remain. He said the government is willing to consider to provision for farmers to approach the civil court for dispute resolution if any arises with the private buyers. Under the current bill, dispute resolution was to be resolved at the SDM level. The government is also committed to bring relief to farmers in ordinances related to electricity use and stubble burning.
कुछ लोगों का बातचीत में बात आती थी कि ये कानून वैध नहीं है, क्योंकि कुछ लोगों ने ऐसा बता रखा था कि कृषि राज्य का विषय है और केंद्र सरकार उस पर कानून नहीं बना सकती। तो हम लोगों ने उनको बैठक में भी संतुष्ट करने की कोशिश की और हमने कहा कि केंद्र सरकार को ट्रेड के लिए कानून बनाने का अधिकार है और हमने ट्रेड से संबंधित ही अपने कानून को सीमित रखा है और एपीएमसी इस कानून से कहीं भी प्रभावित नहीं होती, एमएसपी भी कहीं भी प्रभावित नहीं होती। और ये सब उनको बताने की कोशिश की और फिर उनको हमने ये लिखकर भेजा कि केंद्र सरकार को किन किन कानूनों के अंतर्गत कानून बनाने का अधिकार है।
The Agriculture Minister said 86% of farmers in the country fall in the category of small and marginal who stand with great benefit from the new laws. The new acts will enable small farmers to harvest cash crops and earn better living. While the farmers' protests continued on 15th day, farmers have now threatened to take it pan-India. With Anuj Yadav, DD India.
Well, for more on that story, Vishal Baraswa, our correspondent, joining us this morning. Vishal, good morning. Vishal, the centre has appealed to the farmers. The centre is very clear. They say there is no ego, willing to talk. But why are the farmers adamant? Why are the farmers not ready to blink?
Well, a very good morning to you, Anil and Nancy. Yes, the farmers are not ready to blink because there is no ego on part of the government, but there is ego on part of farmers, it seems, because where the government says that the efficiency would be there is no threat to the land of the farmer, and 6% of the small and marginal farmers are there to be benefited. I don't understand why the country is being held to ransom, because they are threatening not only to Delhi, but also they are threatening to take to pan-India, and that is why I say why they are threatening to hold the country to ransom. And it is quite understandable that they are holding rounds and saying that they have not reached on any agreement with the government, but the government has categorically said that it is over the pit of farmers. Remember, Anil, that already big farmers, they are doing contracting big companies, they are producing and coffee. So what is all shout and protest about? I simply do not understand, and that's why the government trying again and again to somehow make the farmers know that this is not like them, because it is the not for the land but for the produce.
Right. Okay. Vishal, of course, the government has through these talks tried to make the farmers understand how these new laws will help the farmers and in fact make agriculture more competitive. The centre has in fact offered assurances and reassurances that MSPs will stay, the mandis will stay. They're very optimistic of having the talks again, but the farmers are not relenting. So what really seems to be the solution in sight?
Well, it's a very deep situation because the government, when it says that it has no ego, it makes it very clear that it is ready to convince the farmers, but not would like to use any force. But at some point of time, there has to be a solution, because Delhi, the national capital, has been surrounded by these farmers. They have been sitting in for a very long time. And when the government says that it is ready to give in writing that the MSP and the agricultural produce the marketing committees will be there forever, and they are ready to give them in writing. Farmers should understand and let the country, which is already suffering the pangs of corona, and the economy is also suffering from that, they should allow and let the country function. And I believe that at some point of time there would be a solution, because the government, when it says that it has no ego and it is ready to give them in writing, they would understand, and we are all hoping, our fingers crossed.
Absolutely.
Okay, also, Vishal, give us a sense of, especially when it comes to Haryana, you've got the Deputy Chief Minister Dushyant Chautala, who yesterday was there with the Chief Minister of Haryana there, trying to quell all those doubts that were in the minds of the people that, there is some kind of, confusion when it comes to their, especially the alliance partners supporting the government. But now that's been quelled. But what's the sense that you get, especially when it comes to JJP's support now with the BJP, especially in Haryana, with regards to the farmers' protest? They seem to be on the same page, but farmers seem to be far, far away from what exactly is reality.
Well, very pertinent question, Anil. But let me tell you that anybody and everybody could be convinced only when the politics is not involved. As far as this protest is concerned, a lot of politics is there, and it has to have a political solution also. But till now, it seems that only a group of farmers from Punjab, they are only unrelenting, and very soon they would also be convinced, because when the country knows and when the farmers of other states also understand that this is for the benefit of small and marginal farmers, I think they would also, and there could be a backlash from the farmers who feel that this is for their own interest.
Right.
So when there is a and a solution would be found, and all those who are holding the country to ransom for no reason, they would be simply will be forced to take back their protest.
Well, okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us this morning with those updates there, especially when it comes to the farmers' protest that's entering into its 16th day. But also let's, appraise the viewers at this point of time. The Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has come out with a booklet that's highlighting the agricultural reforms, and the booklet is titled Putting Farmers First, where the booklet discusses on a great deal, especially with regards to the recent farm law. So something that's important, something that needs to reach every farmer who's protesting there, to make them see light at the end of the tunnel. Well, shifting focus now to COVID and vaccine related news. Union Health Minister Harshvardhan on Thursday participated virtually in a World Bank ministerial roundtable discussion on vaccinating South Asia against COVID-19. He shared the details about progress of India's vaccine development and efforts and preparedness for distribution of the vaccine. Dr. Harshvardhan said 260 vaccine candidates are in different stages of development globally, out of which 8 are scheduled to be manufactured in India, including 3 indigenous ones. He added that with stringent oversight, it has been ensured that there is no compromise on scientific and regulatory norms, stretching from safety of the trials to efficacy of the vaccines.
First, on developing a vaccine, we are simultaneously working towards leveraging our efficient and vast vaccine distribution network. We have analyzed our present requirement and are working towards augmenting our capacities, healthcare infrastructure and workforce. Leveraging the existing digital interventions in our immunization programs, India is working at breathtaking speed for building an advanced digital platform called CoWIN, which inter alia will allow citizens to self-register for vaccination, monitor their status and be provided with a QR code-based electronic vaccination certificate.
And while India has crossed yet another landmark milestone in the fight against the global pandemic COVID-19, the cumulative testing has crossed 15 crore. The past 1 crore tests were added in just 10 days. Comprehensive and widespread testing on a sustained basis has resulted in bringing down the positivity rate. And in another significant achievement, India has reported less than 40,000 new daily cases for 11 continuous days. The night curfew in Ahmedabad, Surat, Vadodara and Rajkot is scheduled to end today, while in Andhra Pradesh, a single-screen theatres will reopen with 75% occupancy.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the International Bharati Festival 2020 today via video conferencing. This year, the festival has been organized in virtual mode and will see participation of several national and international poets and artists. The festival has been organized by the Varnaville Cultural Center to celebrate the 138th birth anniversary of Mahakavi Subramania Bharati.
Union Minister Nitin Gadkari addressed the virtual Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Conference 2020. Addressing the gathering, the minister requested everyone to invest in the MSMEs in India, which are doing an excellent job. He added that with huge potential, India is a destination for good investment.
I request you that Indian MSMEs are doing excellent jobs. So whatever the MSME, we are making rating of MSME, and after that we will give them this fund of fund. That is our equity from the government, and by which they will enter into the capital market to get the capital. My request to all of you, please invest in good MSMEs. Those who are doing excellent job, you will get good returns.
While the treasure trove of tiger has added grandeur and immense importance to Manas National Park in Assam with its vast swath of lush green forest landscape, keeping up with the Himalayas at the backdrop. Exhibiting an excellent conservation model, Manas National Park in Assam has witnessed a threefold increase in its tiger population in the last 10 years.
Lush green picturesque mountains and capping it all with the majestic tigers. Manas National Park has risen from the ashes as it increases its tiger population by threefold in the last 10 years. India's tiger conservation effort has been lauded all over the world. So much so that it has become a classic case of conservation around the globe, meeting the commitment of doubling the number of wild tigers in the country. The treasure trove of tiger has added grandeur and immense importance to Manas National Park in Assam. The UNESCO World Heritage Site, which has virtually risen from the ashes, is now being toasted globally as a major success story of tiger conservation. Manas Tiger Reserve in Assam, which recently won the Tiger Conservation Excellence Award, has recorded a threefold increase in tiger population in 10 years, thanks to the combined efforts of Assam Forest Department, Union Government and other government agencies and local communities. The primary reason for this achievement is smart patrolling, which includes Android-based monitoring software M-Stripes. The tiger population now includes 26 adults and 4 cubs.
The way to this award was not easy and has been possible only through relentless efforts in overcoming challenges of the past and bringing it to the present state. Today, this award has inspired and motivated us to carry forward with our selfless conservation efforts with more enthusiasm in the future.
The happy story in Manas extends to rhinos as well. Its population has increased to 44 from 0 in 2002 due to the extremist movement in Bodoland. Manas also provides habitat to 22 of India's most threatened species of mammals. This includes 1,034 elephants, 12 clouded leopards, 5 black panthers, 400 golden langurs, 502 wild buffaloes and 706 Indian bison. In fact, the park has bagged the first ever international award for conservation excellence. The award has been jointly conferred on Manas National Park and its Bhutanese counterpart, the Royal Manas National Park. The usage of the latest techniques like M-Stripes and giving the local communities a sense of belonging in the conservation efforts has been one of the success stories of the Manas National Park. They have become a shining example of the conservation efforts of tigers in the country. With camera person Sumit, this is Tapush Bhattacharya, DD India.
Well, let's now move across to our next segment where we bring you news from across the globe, our international segment.
And first up, let's take a look at the updates on COVID-19 from across the world. Well, so far, more than 7,678,000 people have contracted the virus, with over 4,91,00,000 recovering from it globally. COVID-19 has claimed more than 15,87,000 lives worldwide. The US still remains the worst affected from the virus with highest caseload and fatalities. The number of infections in the US has crossed 1,60 lakh, while more than 2,99,000 people have lost their lives from the virus.
Well, in US, the Pfizer Inc.'s coronavirus vaccine has been endorsed by a panel of outside advisors to the US Food and Drug Administration. The US FDA vote paved the way for the agency to authorize the shot. The panel also discussed concerns raised by two reports of serious allergic reactions among vaccine recipients in Britain. However, the committee outweighed the risks of taking the shot for individuals aged 16 and above. After the approval, facilities at Los Angeles have begun the process to store the vaccines in ultra-cold freezer units.
And India is ready to increase the capacity of Bangladeshi professionals for effective delivery of COVID-19 vaccine. This was stated by the High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh, Vikram Doraiswamy, during his courtesy call on the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, yesterday. During the meeting, he expressed India's willingness to contribute in enhancing the service delivery capacity of Bangladeshi professionals for the COVID-19 vaccine.
Well, in Brazil, procurement of doses of COVID-19 vaccine made by China's Sinovac Biotech are underway at the Butantan Institute, which aims to begin vaccination process from the 25th of January next year. 11 Brazilian states have contacted Butantan to seek the doses of vaccine. However, President Jair Bolsonaro refused to buy the Chinese vaccine for a national immunization program. State governors have criticized the federal government for unprepared mass immunization campaign. Meanwhile, the federal government has signed a letter of intent to buy 70 million doses from Pfizer as well as around 100 million doses from AstraZeneca.
Now, France has decided not to reopen its museums, cinemas and theatres next week as the country sees swelling up of COVID-19 cases. France's Prime Minister has ordered not to organize big parties for New Year as well. Moreover, the lockdown imposed to contain the spread of the virus in the end of October this year would only be partially lifted on 15th December. The easing of restrictions will include reopening of cultural venues. France has registered over 23,37,000 cases of infection, with fatality standing above 56,900.
Well, Russia has agreed a deal with Argentina to supply 10 million doses of Sputnik 5 COVID-19 vaccine, which will allow the country to start vaccinating people this month. Argentina President Alberto Fernandez said that over 3 lakh people will be vaccinated by January. However, the first group of individuals to receive the vaccine will be people with underlying medical conditions and people above 60 years. First batch of Sputnik 5 doses will arrive in December and will cost less than $20 per person. Meanwhile, Argentina has already tied up deals for 22 million doses of the Oxford vaccine being developed by AstraZeneca and with the vaccine program COVAX.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has welcomed the President Donald Trump's announcement of a normalization deal between Israel and Morocco as a historic peace between the two nations. Netanyahu said it would lead to direct flights between Morocco and Israel. Along with Egypt and Jordan, Morocco becomes the fourth Arab country to normalize ties with Israel. The deal includes the reopening of the Liaison offices in Tel Aviv and Rabat, which was shut since 2000. Meanwhile, Palestinian officials condemned the agreement, saying it encouraged Israel's denial of their rights.
Well, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson said that the UK will fail to strike a post-Brexit trade deal with the EU. Johnson said that firms and people now have to prepare for a no-deal outcome. Johnson and the EU Chief Executive, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, failed to overcome persistent divisions over a dinner in Brussels on Wednesday. However, both sides had given negotiators extra time to seal an agreement and said they would decide the next steps by the end of the week. The European Union and Britain are at loggerheads over fishing rights, economic fair play and dispute settlement despite months of talks on a new trade deal to keep an estimated $1 trillion of commerce free of tariffs or quotas from 2021.
In some more news now, the Jews in Dubai celebrated the first day of Hanukkah. The celebrations were hosted at the foot of Dubai's iconic Burj Khalifa, with the tallest building in the world lighting up for the event. Hanukkah, which is also known as the Festival of Light, is celebrated by Jewish people around the world for 8 months. While this Hanukkah is especially different for the Jews in Dubai, as it comes months after a normalization deal between the UAE and Israel, which has seen several other Arab countries such as Bahrain, Sudan and Morocco most recently follow suit.
Well, New York State has announced it has sued Facebook Inc., saying it broke antitrust law and should potentially be broken up. The lawsuit is being joined by nearly every US state and is also taking place alongside a suit being filed by the US Federal Trade Commission. With the filing of the twin lawsuits, Facebook becomes the second big tech company to face a major legal challenge this fall. The FTC said in a statement that it would seek an injunction that could, among other things, require disclosures of assets including Instagram and WhatsApp. In its complaint, the coalition of 46 states, Washington DC and Guam also asked for Facebook's acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp to be judged to be illegal. Facebook said it is reviewing the FTC and state antitrust complaints.
And well, now in a visual delight for the visitors, an ice cave that forms naturally on a high altitude glacier in the Swiss Alps has become accessible on Thursday at the huge blue vault of the Ice Cathedral in Switzerland. The cave has a rounded ceiling made of thick ice about 5 meters high and is about 20 meters long. The site can be reached on 14-15 minutes from the chairlift at the glacier 3000 above the resort. While this year the cave's interior is quite flat, which makes the access easier.
Well, time now to shift focus and time now to take a look at all the news that we might have missed, taking a look in our web news review.
And we have our colleague Preeti now joining us with all that's making it to the headlines in the World Wide Web. Preeti, good morning. Just take us through what have you picked up for our viewers this morning.
Good morning, Nancy. Good morning, Anil, and a very good morning to all our viewers for the Breakfast Show. When we talk of the headlines, then our bulletins are also leading with the talks between the centre and the farmers, and I have not picked up that from the web review. I'm leading with a new Parliament building, which was the foundation stone for which was laid down yesterday by the Prime Minister. We must have also, taken that in the bulletin, but I'll pick this headline from the Times of India. It says, new Parliament building will last 150 years. Its houses can seat 150% more MPs. Now, while laying the foundation stone, the Prime Minister said that it is a testament to Atmanirbhar Bharat, and also the new building will have a life of more than 150 years. And when we talk of the interiors of the new building, Lok Sabha specifically will be based on the theme of a peacock, and the Rajya Sabha will be based on the lotus flower. And also on your screens, I've put in the details which have been put forth by Times of India. It says that it will also have a Constitution Hall, and this Constitution, the building will be a triangular building, and the Constitution Hall will not have stories. There will be is the place where people will read page by page, and Constitution Hall will also exhibit the Constitution. The rest of the building will have 4 floors, and that is it. When we talk of the new Parliament building, it will be completed by 2022, and the winter session is expected to be held there in 2022. The next slide, which is on your screens, is again from Times of India. It talks of how India and Nepal are envisaging to start the air bubble. This is with reference to Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla's visit to Nepal last month, after in an effort to reset the ties between India and Nepal, after there was some objection on the Nepalese map, which showed some Indian territories part of Nepal. So after that, as suggested by the headline, as ties thaw, India and Nepal decide to resume flights. Now, this air bubble, through this air bubble, flights will be starting between Kathmandu and India, 2 flights daily, and the air bubble will resume immediately and will continue till scheduled flights between the 2 countries will begin. This is with respect to the COVID-19 pandemic, wherein air travel had been prohibited, and now India has been beginning air bubbles with various countries, and Nepal is the next country with which India is to begin the air bubble. The next story I pick up is from the Business Standards. On your screens, we have the headline: Sensex slips 144 points as financial stocks and Reliance Industries decline. Nifty ends at 13,478. Now, yesterday, the winning streak of Sensex was interrupted as it closed 144 points down, and also the Nifty closed 51 points down. It is because of the fall in the sell-off in the HDFC Bank, Reliance Industry stocks, and also ICICI Bank and Infosys. When we talk of some sectors which closed in the higher, this was reality in Nifty sector. Reality sector in Nifty, the reality stocks in Nifty, they closed 0.43% higher, and FMCG also closed 2.81% higher. The next headline I pick up is from the Mint. The Mint talks of Indian Railways developing a new modified automobile carrier with a high-speed potential. Now, the Mint gives us the details. Indian Railways Parel Workshop, which is under the Central Railways, has developed this special coach, which is called the new modified goods coach. And this, on your screens, it has got the various parameters have been listed by Mint, and it also says Indian Railways has become more safe and affordable medium of transport for transporting automobiles, not only all across the country but also Bangladesh as well. And this will in fact give another boost to Indian Railways as well. Very quickly, I'll talk of the next headline. The next headline is Financial Express. Walmart plans to increase exports from India to $10 billion by 2027. And the expansion in the sources comes in different categories: consumables, health, wellness, food, pharmaceuticals, apparel, and these are the various categories in which the exports will increase. This will indeed give a boost to the MSME sector in the country. Added to that, the slide which I've provided, it also gets us the details of how. Just give me a second. It also gives us the details of how. The company, Walmart company, is catering to other countries as well, wherein Indian products reach. These are US, Canada, Mexico, Central America, United Kingdom, through the global outsourcing. And the next slide, which I...
All right, Preeti, thanks very much for joining us for the moment.
Well, there is an interesting story here that I was just going through online. This is an interesting story. We need to get ready for now armpit advertising. That's what's going to happen in the Big Bash League. It's an interesting story that's coming up. Umpires in Australia's Big Bash League are going to carry a deodorant logo on their t-shirt that's under their arms. It's going to be interesting, and you've got big deodorants companies pushing for it, and it's going to be interesting to see underarm advertising too gaining momentum, especially in these times of COVID. Well, now it's time to shift focus.
Yes, what's absolutely next? Shifting focus now to all the business stories of the day in Business Buzz. Prime Minister Modi will virtually deliver the inaugural address at FICCI's 93rd Annual General Meeting and the Annual Convention tomorrow. Prime Minister will also inaugurate the virtual FICCI Annual Expo 2020. The theme of this year's annual convention is Inspired India. The convention will witness various stakeholders deliberating on the implications of COVID-19 on the economy, reforms being undertaken by the government, and the way forward for the Indian economy. Now, FICCI Annual Expo 2020 will start today and continue for a period of 1 year. The virtual expo will provide an opportunity to the exhibitors from across the globe to showcase their products and advance their business prospects.
Well, going forward to our next story, within a year of operationalization, NEFT, or that's National Electronic Fund Transfer, 24/7, the Reserve Bank of India has announced that the real-time gross settlement system or the RTGS facility will now be available for round-the-clock transactions with effect from 12:30 a.m. on Monday. In a statement, RBI has informed that round-the-clock availability of RTGS will provide extended flexibility to businesses for effecting payments. It added that the system can also be leveraged to enhance operations of Indian financial markets and cross-border payments. RTGS presently handles 6.35 lakh transactions daily for a value of 4.17 lakh crore rupees across 237 participant banks. RTGS uses ISO 222 format, which is the best-in-class messaging standard for financial transactions.
And after all the business news, let's move on now and get you all the sports news in a segment, The Sports Track.
Well, World Health Organization, that's WHO, has applauded India's initiative of promoting physical activity through this fitness campaign. The campaign, launched as part of the nationwide Fit India movement by the Union Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Kiren Rijiju, has gained the support of celebrities from different fields, including Bollywood, sportspersons, writers, doctors, and fitness influencers. Campaign has enthusiastically urged people to follow the basic mantra of 30 minutes of fitness every day.
And the BCCI, in fact, has, along with the England and Wales Cricket Board, on Thursday announced the fixtures for Team India's home series against England. The much-awaited marquee series will kickstart with a 4-match test series for the Anthony De Mello Trophy, the first of which will be played in Chennai from the 5th of February. Chennai will also host the second test, while the newly built Sardar Patel Motara Stadium in Ahmedabad will host the remaining 2 test matches.
Well, George Russell will not get the chance for a shot at redemption in Abu Dhabi this weekend after world champion Lewis Hamilton was declared fit to race following one race off while recovering from COVID-19. The FIA, Formula One and Mercedes confirmed that Lewis Hamilton had passed a number of negative COVID-19 tests after completing a 10-day quarantine period in Bahrain. He's already arrived in Abu Dhabi, where he tested negative a further time, a requirement before gaining access to the F1 paddock. The 7-time world champion was forced to miss the Shakir Grand Prix after returning a positive COVID-19 test prior to the race weekend.
Now, the NBA Academy India graduate Riyanshu Negi has signed with the DME Sports Academy, a prep school in Daytona Beach, Florida, becoming the 4th male student athlete from the NBA Academy India to commit to a high school or college basketball program in the US. NBA Academy India is an elite basketball training center for the top prospects from throughout India and the first of its kind in the country, and is supported by official partner ACG. Negi joined the NBA Academy India in 2017 as part of the inaugural class of student athletes identified through the ACG NBA Jump program. The 18-year-old shooting guard from Roorkee, Uttarakhand, has been part of multiple basketball development camps organized by the NBA, including the 2017 and 2018 NBA Academy Games and the 2017 NBA Asia Pacific Camp in China. And with that, let's move on now. Take a look at the health story of the day.
Well, cold weather affects everyone but has more impact on some people. It is very essential to be extra cautious when it comes to health in winters. Know more about the measures that are effective to keep yourself safe and healthy in this winter season.
The winter season brings with it a new set of health risks. Cold weather can cause or aggravate number of ailments.
During winter, the atmosphere is dry and cold, and because of that we are likely to have cough, cold, sore throat, irritation or dryness in the eyes, and we can have common cold, seasonal influenza, flu, viral fevers, and those patients Those who are having hypertension, their blood pressure can increase a bit because of the vasoconstriction in the skin. The cardiac patients, they can be affected. The patient of stroke can be affected. Besides this, the patient of asthma, COPD, or those who have got the respiratory problems, they are affected more.
Heart patients, hypertensives, diabetics, young children, elderly and those with low immunity need to be extra cautious during the cold months.
During the winters, we should avoid early morning outdoor activity unnecessarily, because during this time we are having first the atmosphere temperature is very low, there can be smog in the early morning also, and unnecessarily exposure to this by the high risk group particularly should be prevented. We should ensure that when we are going in the cold, particularly we should be wearing 3 layers of clothing, and the inside of the cloth layer should be cotton, and beside this we should be covering our head, our neck, face, and using the thick socks. We should preferably do the exercise during the mid part of the day. Sunlight itself is a mood elevator and gives a feeling of well-being. We should ensure that we are taking plenty of lukewarm water, we are taking lot of fruits and vegetables, preventing unnecessarily fried, spicy meal, and to keep our the cardiac patient, hypertensive patients or asthmatic patient, they should also remain in touch with the doctor to readjust their dose as per the requirement.
It is important to be vigilant and aware of dangers to health in the cold weather. Taking precautions is an effective way to keep healthy during winters. Kiran Bhardwaj, DD News.
So one needs to be careful, especially in this winter season when it comes to our health. Well, shifting focus now and moving forward to taking a look at all the important events that took place on this very day in history, December 11th.
It was on this day in 1922. The legendary Bollywood actor Dilip Kumar was born in Peshawar, Pakistan. The government of India honoured him with the Padma Bhushan Award, Dada Saheb Phalke Award and the Padma Vibhushan for his contribution towards Indian cinema and nominated him to Rajya Sabha. It was on this day in 1967 that Koyana Nagar earthquake occurred near Koyana Nagar town in Maharashtra. The 6.5 magnitude shock hit near the site of Koyana Dam and claimed at least 180 lives and injured over 1500. It was on this day in 2004 that Carnatic vocalist Madurai Shanmukhvadivu Shubbu Lakshmi passed away in Chennai. She was the first musician ever to be awarded the Bharat Ratna. She is also known as MS Shubbu Lakshmi. It was on this day in 2012 that one of the top sitar players of 20th century, Pandit Ravi Shankar, passed away in San Diego, California. The legendary musician was conferred with Bharat Ratna, the Padma Bhushan and the Padma Vibhushan. It was on this day in 1941 that Germany and Italy declared war on United States. Germany and Italy announced that they were at war with the United States. America immediately responded by declaring war on the two Axis powers.
Well, it's 11th of December. 11th of December is also 85th birth anniversary of Pranab Mukherjee, the man who dedicated his life to public service and also the 13th President of India.
Absolutely. With that, let's move on now. Take a look at the weather conditions for today.
Well, taking a look at the satellite image that is there before you, there is clouds across eastern part of India and also down south where there is a thick thunderstorm and accompanied with lightning and hail that is expected over many places in Jammu, Himachal and Punjab, over Uttarakhand in the next 24 hours and over Madhya Maharashtra today and tomorrow. Thunderstorm accompanied with lightning at isolated places expected over Haryana, Chandigarh and Delhi today and tomorrow. Dense to very dense fog in isolated pockets very likely over Uttar Pradesh. Dense fog over Bihar, Odisha, West Bengal, Sikkim and Tripura and also over Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh and Delhi along with Uttarakhand during the next 96 hours. Well, time now to take a look at the temperatures in your city. Well, we are at the fag end of this edition of Breakfast News. We are heading into the weekend, but remember that, we've got a campaign running for you. We are urging you to wear your mask as you step out of your house. Remember, we are all in crisis times. We cannot do great things, but we can do small things in a great way. And the small thing that we expect you to do is wearing your mask as you step out of your house. Remember, it should be a part and parcel of your lifeline now, especially when it comes to these situations that we are all in. We're still 20 days away from New Year, but a mask can always help us, make that ground, especially when it comes to seeing the New Year in 2021. So we are just about to leave the studios, and as we leave the studios, we get our mask on, and we request each and every one of you to please wear your mask as you step out of your house. Vaccines are around the corner, but we still need to wait for the shots to come. So till then, we can use this as a big protection layer to keep oneself safe.
Well, absolutely, taking care of yourself and your loved ones should be your priority, as in fact you begin your new day today, and we're also going to be in fact wearing our masks on our way out. We're running this campaign like we've been telling you about. It's a simple task, just wear your mask. But in fact, before we also wind up this edition of the Breakfast Show, we're leaving you with a glimpse of sunrise at the Tiger Hills of West Bengal on the occasion of International Mountains Day. Take a look at that, and we wish you a great day ahead. Thanks for being with us. Be good. Take good care of yourself.
Bye-bye.